Stop recording button. Double tap to
Hi.
activate.
Hi, my name's May. I love yarn. I love to knit and crochet. And yes, I also happen to be visually impaired. So I knit and crochet by feel. And I happen to think that knitting and crochet are for everybody, including people who are visually impaired. It's something that you can do tactily. You've got the hook or the needles in your hands. You've got the yarn in your hands, and you can manipulate it all by feel. So, on this channel, I want to teach people by using my words how to knit and crochet. So today we are going to do a magic ring. Now, a magic ring is just one of the ways that is used to start crochet projects in the round. But of course, there are other ways to start crochet projects in the round. You can do a chain and then connect. And even then with the magic ring or the magic circle, right? It's called both. There's multiple ways to do it. So I'm just going to show you one way today. Now, feel free to pause this video, rewind, go back as much as you need, slow it down, but also know that if for some reason I'm not explaining this to you in a way that works for you, that's okay. Just Google how to make a magic ring. And you'll find hundreds, if not thousands, of videos. When I first learned to crochet, I struggled to make the magic ring. I had to watch 4 or 5 different people teach it, and I had to try it in multiple ways and practice multiple times before I got it. So don't worry if you struggle with the magic ring. Okay, I am right-handed. So I'm going to hold my crochet hook in my right hand. And of course, if you're left-handed, you will probably want to do the opposite, but I'm sure if you're left-handed, you are used to that by now. So I am using a size 5.5 millimeter crochet hook or a size I9, and I happen to be using a cone of 100% cotton from Knit Picks and We Crochet. It is in the color of jalapeno. So from my cone, we have this tail of the yarn, and I'm going to hold the yarn. I'm going to hold the tail. I've got the hook in my right hand. I'm going to hold the tail, the very end, between my thumb and index finger on my right hand, and then I'm going to put my thumb and index finger on my left hand right above that, and then I'm going to slide my left hand up about 4 or 5 inches so that I got about 4 or 5 inches of tail hanging down from my yarn, and now I'm still pinching it with my thumb and index finger from my left hand with about 4 or 5 inches of the tail hanging down. So I'm going to let go of that with my right hand. And so with that yarn pinched between my thumb and index finger of my left hand, I'm going to go ahead and drape the yarn across the back of my index finger and my middle finger on my left hand. And then I'm going to take the yarn and I'm going to put it between my middle finger and my ring finger on my left hand. So it's going to come down to the palm side, right? If I turn my hand over, it's going to be on the palm side underneath. I'm going to bring it around underneath, and I'm going to take that yarn and come back up between my thumb and my index finger again, right? And I'm going to pinch it there again. So I've got it pinched in there in 2 places. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring it back across my index finger and my middle finger again so that it makes an X. And ideally, the center of the X will be right in between my index finger and my middle finger. And then I'm going to drape it across my ring finger as well and bring it down. So in the end, it's across 3 fingers, right? It's across my index finger, my middle finger, and my ring finger. And then I'm going to bring it down so that it is going down between my ring finger and my pinky. So I should have the X where the 2 strands, right? I've now got 2 strands across the back of my left hand. So ideally, the center of the X should be right around where in between my index finger and my middle finger. Now, in between my index finger and my middle finger, I'm going to stick the crochet hook, right? So the crochet hook is going to come. Now I got a front strand of the X, right? And a strand in the back. I'm going to stick the crochet hook up in between where that X crosses so that it goes underneath. I want it to go underneath the front strand. And then I'm going to turn my hook so that it is hook side down. And I'm going to grab the back strand of that X with the hook. I'm going to hook it literally with the hook, and I'm going to pull it so that it comes up in between my index finger and my middle finger, and then I'm going to twist my hook so that it's hook side up, so that I now have a loop of yarn hooked onto my crochet hook and it's twisted on there. And now I'm going to take that hook and I'm going to bring it over between with the loop on it, and the loop's going to slide down a little bit, and that's okay. It's going to slide down the crochet hook a little bit. So I'm going to take that crochet hook now between my middle finger and my ring finger, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go underneath the strand of yarn where it's crossing the back of my hand between my middle finger and my ring finger. So I'm going to take the hook underneath the strand of yarn there, and once again I'm going to grab it with the crochet hook, and this time I'm going to twist it and bring it through the strand of yarn that's already on my crochet hook. And that is it. I now have one strand on the hook again. I still got my yarn over my index finger and my middle finger. So now I'm going to pull my fingers out of that. And now I have a magic ring. And so what you can do now with the tail end is you'll be able to pull on it and tighten it, and that ring will get smaller and smaller. And eventually that's what you're going to want to do, but you don't want to tighten it all the way down yet. You want to work into it first. So at this point now, you are going to follow your pattern, whatever your pattern specifies. If your pattern says work 6 single crochets into the magic ring, that's what you're going to do. If it says work 12 double crochets into the center of your magic ring, then that's what you're going to do. So let's work some double crochets into the magic ring. Okay, so crochet hook in right hand, right? And I've got my yarn tensioned, and it's between my index finger and my middle finger. So let's work some double crochets. With my yarn tensioned tight, I'm going to be able to stick the hook underneath the yarn. That is a yarn over the hook. Now I'm going to dive my hook down into that magic ring that we just made, and then I'm going to grab the yarn again. If your yarn is tensioned tight, you'll be able to find it, even if you can't see. So I'm going to grab that yarn again with my hook. That's another yarn over, and I'm going to draw up that loop that I just got through the magic ring. I should now have 3 loops on my crochet hook, right? We're going to yarn over again, and now we are going to pull our yarn. And if it's tight and you're visually impaired, go ahead and manipulate that with your fingers, right? Grab that loop and pull it over the top of the hook and of that first strand, and you can pull it over again. So you got 2 loops off of the hook, and you now have 2 loops still on your crochet hook. That's the first half of your double crochet. Now you have to yarn over the hook again, and you're going to twist your hook so it's pointed down, and you're going to pull it through both loops. And now you're back to 1 loop on the hook, and you've just made your first double crochet. Okay, let's do that a few more times. You should have 1 loop on your hook. Your yarn is tension tight so you can feel where it's at. You're going to stick your hook underneath that yarn. You're going to grab a loop. you should have 2 loops on your hook. Now you're going to stick your crochet hook down into the magic ring. You're going to dive down in there. You're going to grab that yarn with the hook, and then you're going to bring it back up through the magic ring. 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, twist your hook so that it's pointed down. You want to pull it through 1, through 2. Oops, I missed. Okay, well, that can happen when you're visually impaired, for sure. Okay, we're going to try it again. 1 loop on the hook, yarn over. Stick your hook down through the magic ring, grab the yarn, draw it back up. 3 loops on the hook, yarn over again. And then I'm going to twist my hook, and I'm going to pull, and I'm going to use my fingers to just pull the second loop over the yarn over that I just made. And then I'm going to grab my fingers again, my thumb and my index finger. I'm going to pinch that center loop. I'm going to pull it over the top of the loop on the end. And now I've got 2 loops on my hook. I want to yarn over the end of my hook again. I want to twist my hook, and I want to pull it through both loops. Back to 1 loop on my hook. We'll do it one more time. We've got 1 loop on the hook. We're going to yarn over the hook. We're going to stick our hook down through the magic ring. We're going to grab our yarn. We're going to twist our hook. We're going to pull it through. 3 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over, and then we're going to twist our hook, and we're going to pull it through 1 loop and through 2 loops. And now we should have 2 loops on our crochet hook. We want to yarn over again. We want to twist our hook, point it down, pull it through so that we are left. Oops. Okay, I got the stitch done, but I did pull my hook off of my yarn, and that can happen when you're visually impaired and you're crocheting by feel and you can't see what's happening on the end of your crochet hook, right? You don't have eye-hand coordination.
Books The Librarians. New chapter. When a librarian from the past gets stuck in our time, he accidentally releases magic everywhere. Watch Mondays on TNT. Sparkle's Crystal Ball.
My screen reader. Sorry about that. If you don't know yet, I said it. I'm blind and I'm visually impaired. And so I use a screen reader to access the internet. We're just working on my Samsung Galaxy phone, and it just reads out random stuff to me. And apparently it just thought I needed to know about that book. Okay. So we now have 3 double crochets in our magic ring. We're going to do 3 more. So we'll do a yarn over. We'll go into the ring. We will yarn over again. We will draw up a loop. And now we're going to do our double crochet again. Let's see. Okay, that's the first half. There's the second half. We have 4 double crochets. We're going to do 2 more. Yarn over the hook, stick your hook through the magic ring, twist your hook, grab the yarn, pull it back over. 3 loops on the hook, yarn over again, and twist your hook, pull it through. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to use my fingers, my thumb and my index finger, and just pinch that second loop, pull it over the top of my hook and the yarn, grab the middle loop, pull it over the top. That first half of the double crochet, when you're visually impaired, when you're first working, it can be really tricky. I'm going to yarn over again, I'm going to twist my hook, and I'm going to pull it through. Okay, we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets. We are going to work 1 more. Yarn over, stick your hook through the magic ring, yarn over, draw up a loop, pull it back through the ring, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over again, twist our hook, pull it through the first, let's see, I made it through 1 loop. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to grab that center loop with my thumb and index finger, just pull it over the top of the hook, 2 loops left on the hook. I'm going to yarn over again and twist my hook and pull it through the remaining 2 loops. We now have 6 double crochets into our magic ring, and oftentimes this would be where your pattern would say, now tighten up your center of your ring, and then it would say, take your hook now and slip stitch it to the top of your first crochet your first double crochet or the top chain or the third chain or whatever your pattern says to do, okay? And so that is where you would slip stitch. I probably could have started with a chain. That's a lot of your patterns will do. We're going to slip stitch into the top there, which that just means you stick your hook underneath either the chain or the top, the third chain, or underneath the top 2 loops of your stitch, okay? And you grab the yarn and you pull it through. And now you got 2 loops on your hook. And once again, you want to twist your hook and pull that loop through the last loop. And that's your slip stitch. And now we can start working again. So do what your pattern says. It would chain 2, and then usually, because we want to keep generally the majority of circular crochet patterns, you want them to be a flat circle for a while. So you're going to want to work in the round. So what that means is that you're going to double your stitches. If your pattern starts with 6 stitches, then you're going to put 2 double crochets into each stitch all the way around so that you will end up with 12. And then on your next round, you'll usually do 1 double crochet in the first stitch and then 2 double crochets in the next stitch, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 2 double crochets in the next stitch. And that will take you up to 18 and then 24. So whatever your stitch is, you're going to work its multiple for a few rounds. It might just be 2 rounds. If you're making something small like a coaster, it could be that you start with 12 double crochets. And in that case, then you would do 2 double crochets in each stitch until you got to 24. And then maybe 36. Or if it's 9, you would work up to 18 and then 27. But you would work your stitch multiple. So that's how you make a magic ring, and that's just one of the ways how to make a magic ring, and that's just one of the ways how to start a crochet project in the round. So let's just briefly take a look at a few crochet projects in the round so you have an idea of just what you can do with this thing. Okay, you could start with just your basic coaster. This is just a circular coaster. I started this in the very center with the magic ring technique. Then I increased my stitches from 6 to 12 to 18 to 24 to 30. That's just a simple coaster. You can start with something that basic. You can also do I have that was cranberry. This coaster is cranberry and white, and it's made with the Premier Home Cotton. This is just a summer bucket hat in a dark planetarium blue. I like to describe things for people on my channel who are visually impaired like myself. And this is started from the crown, from the top of the center. And I work my way out. You make your magic ring in the center and you work your way out. So you can do a bucket hat. You can do a fancier hat like this white one. This is a spring Easter hat. You start in the center with your crown and then you work your way out until you get to the diameter of your head that you want, and then you start working your sides and you work down. These are some shells. The so you can work baskets. This is a pink basket that I've made, and this is started at the very center of the bottom, and you start with a magic ring and you work your way out around the edges until you get to the diameter that you want, and then you start working your sides up. So you can do baskets and the majority of amigurumi. This is a little chick by Jada and Stitches. The majority of your amigurumi are also going to start with a magic ring in the center And then you're going to start your shaping from there. So if you want to do amigurumi, if you're seeing all this cute amigurumi, the magic ring is a technique that you will need. And then, of course, you can do all kinds of different fancy doilies, the pineapple doilies that you may have seen. Hang on, I will get one and I'll be right back. Let me put this on pause.
Button. Pause.
Okay, you can do your doilies like this. This is just a traditional pineapple doily. This is a YouTube tutorial by Fiber Spider. You start in the center with your magic ring, and then you work your way out. And there's this little heart-shaped doily. The tutorial for this is Crochet by Claire. So there's all kinds of things and projects that a magic ring is useful for. And as I said, it's not the only way. A lot of other projects will start with a chain. You chain 3, or you chain 4 or 5 or whatever. And the person will walk you through it. Of course, you can also do blankets that way. There's lots of circular blankets. Or the star blankets, like you might see a 6-pointed star or a 12-pointed star blanket. Those you can start with a magic ring in the center as well. So it's a very useful technique that I use in a variety of projects. So feel free to listen to that again, rewind it, slow it down, and as I said, if I'm not explaining it to you in a way that works for you, just keep Googling how to crochet, how to make a magic ring to start crochet. There's so many tutorials on it on the internet. And of course, happy stitching until next time. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Pause.